For me, when I hear the term moving on up, honestly, from Ernesto gave this theme to me, the first thing that came to mind was a song. My kids started, well, we're moving on up to the sky, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up to the sky. We finally got a piece of the pie. Now those lyrics penned the theme song for a 1970s American sitcom, which was called The Jeffersons. And the Jeffersons focused on a nouveau riche African American couple that had just bought a penthouse in Manhattan, New York. Nouveau riche basically means someone who has just come into wealth. George, who was the husband, he had a stream of laundromat businesses, and he came into great wealth. And as a result, he bought a penthouse for his family in East Side Manhattan, because at that time, people of his culture didn't live there. They weren't afforded that opportunity. So all of his neighbors was white, his bellman was white, driver was white. He even had his own, what was prominent at that time, black maid, which was Florence. You know, so for him, they were now in the big leagues. So agreeably so, when you hear the term moving on up, one of the first things that will come to mind is prominence, elite, more things, more money, you know, success, wealth. However, I've come to put something different before you tonight. That moving on up is not just about fitting in with the rich, becoming wealthy, gaining money, becoming famous, or even becoming a snob. Moving on up is actually increasing the quality of your life and not increasing the quantity of the things in your life. I'll say it again. Moving on up is increasing the quality of your life and not increasing the quantity of the things in your life. Now, moving on up, or another word I'm going to interchange it with, is simply elevation. And elevation is not something that we're doing to get to a specific destination. Elevation is actually progressing through the journey of life. And all of us in here are elevating. I'm elevating, you're elevating, Tomas is elevating, and none of us are going to stop elevating. Elevation never stops until each and every one of us in this room takes our final breath. There's no final destination. You're continually elevating until you take your last breath. Now, when you hear the word move, and before I move on, I must say, I have to say this before I start, pause. This is the first time I've had an audience of majority kings. Yes. I am so, you all know how delighted I am. Like, I am so delighted to see kings in a room. So I'm sitting in here like blown. I'm usually speaking to a lot of queens, and I applaud my queens in here. It's something
I like
rare to me. I do have a lot of male clients as a counselor, so when I get into a room and I see kings actually elevating and growing and being positive impact, y'all know my heart is beating. So I thank you again for receiving from me. Now, when you hear the word move, in order for us to move, whether it's for me to move from here to Jamaica Road, here to Freeport, here to Asia, Africa, Europe, the US, wherever, what is something that you think you must have in order to make movement on a journey?
Mindset. A mom.
Bam! Alonso, you win the prize. No matter what your journey is, wherever your journey is going, you're gonna have to have a map in order to go on your journey. We all need a map, and I'm gonna give you a map tonight to move on up. And the map that I'm gonna give you is gonna be basically give you 3 essential tools that you can use on your journey. The first word in map is M. That's your first tool. Now, just like even a firstborn child, we carry much weight. This M actually has 2 criteria to it. and M represents your mindset and motivation. Now on this journey called life, we're daily chartering into what I like to call the unknown. Every morning you wake up, you don't know what is ahead of you in the day. Every step you take, the next minute, the next second, we don't know. So we're constantly chartering into the unknown. And naturally, because of that, something called fear may show up. But however, whatever you train your mind determines if fear becomes your driver or your passenger on your journey. Now, 4 years ago, I was struggling with a mental health disorder. And going through that struggle and overcoming, I learned a very prominent thing that I take with me every day. And that thing that I learned is that the mind does not have the ability to choose what it thinks. The mind thinks what we tell it or feed it to think. Your mind doesn't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to feel bad today. You wake up and say, oh, I'm feeling bad, and the mind just starts like, okay, this is how we're going to operate today. Whatever you feed and tell your mind, that's what it's going to think. It's just like our bodies. What you choose to put in your body can either affect your body negatively or positively. You want to eat junk food every day, all day? Eventually diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, all those things may become your friend. If you choose to be healthy, you find yourself having more energy, being able to live a healthy life, no heart problems and all those issues. It's the same thing with the mind. If you feed the mind negative things, you will become a negative person. You will execute as a negative person. If you feed the mind a positive thing, you become a positive person. You execute as a positive person. The scary thing for me, though, is that a lot of people think it's so much more important what we eat. But I care to tell you, it's so much more important what you feed your mind. Because if we improve our mindset, we can improve our physical health.
Yeah.
If we improve our mindset, we can reduce stress, which will improve your emotional health.
Yeah.
If we improve our mindset, we can become more resilient to challenges that we face daily, which will improve your spiritual health. And what that does, it allows you the opportunity to live a holistic life and truly exist in the abundance that God has for you. It all starts with the 6 inches between your ears. I read something today that says your mindset is a magnet. What you think is what you attract and what you ultimately become. Proverbs 23:7 says it, as a man thinketh in his heart. And if you do the studies of the Bible, that heart actually means mind. When you translate the word, as a man think in his heart, which is mind, so is he. So as you elevate and move on up, the paramount tool that you need to get or acquire is a positive mindset. Because the positive mindset fuels you with the next part of the M, motivation, when the storms come. Now I remember I was on Tonic William Darling Highway one day driving home to the east. And sunny day, listening to audio, having a good day in the car. And by the time I got to Prince Charles, it was like pouring rain. Again, like I said, we're always traveling into the unknown. I had no idea when I was on Tonic William Darling Highway, it was raining on Prince Charles. Storms will arise as you elevate. As you move on up, challenges will come. So you may ask yourself, Tinesha, how do I get motivated? When those challenges show up, how do I get motivated? 2 ways. Find and hold on to your why. Why is it that you're striving to become the person you're desiring to become? Why are you setting the goals that you're setting for yourself? Why are you seeking to attain and desire the dreams that you're dreaming? Why is it that you're pushing this Toastmaster Club? What is your why in what you're doing? No matter if your life journey is long or short, and I declare for everybody in here it's going to be long.
Amen.
You know, you're always going to experience roadblocks. Roadblocks is what I like to call disappointment. It could be disappointment in a friend. It could be disappointment in a spouse, from a family member, on the job. We're all going to experience some form of disappointment. We're all going to experience some form of detours. Detours is what I like to call challenges. So these are things now that really challenge you. You may have a promotion up on the job, but it's challenging you to spend more time. You may have to do a thesis if you're in school and you're going after your degree. These are things that are a little bit more challenges. Now, if your journey, anything like driving on the streets of Nassau, you can get some potholes. Potholes is what I call setbacks, major setbacks. Now, these can be things like you make a financial investment and lose all your money.
Yeah.
That's a major setback. It can be something like a loved one dying and you just grieve and don't know how to pick up the pieces and move on. It can be the loss of a marriage. I experienced that. As you move on up in life, you're going to experience all of these things. Now, how many of you in here ever had to move? Like location, ever had to move?
Yeah.
Was it always fun?
Oh.
No.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. As a child, I loved moving from one house to the next. And as I became an adult, I enjoyed moving from one apartment to a better apartment. However, there were times within that process I dreaded, I don't know for anybody else, the packing and the unpacking. I dreaded it. So as you move, there's going to be days of excitement, but there are going to be days when you dread the process. There's going to be days when you have challenges and things don't seem so exciting. You're going to have moments when the going gets tough and you just feel like throwing in the towel. You're going to have moments where your dreams become distant and unattainable. It seems so far to reach. This big goal that I had now seems so far to reach. You're going to have moments where you feel like no matter how much you try, no matter how much you try as becoming a better speaker, no matter how much you try becoming a better husband, a better friend, you're going to feel like you're not good enough and you don't fit in any place or space. You're going to have those moments. You'll have moments where you miss the goal, you miss the mark, and you have to start over. And that's going to become so overwhelming, like I have to go right back to the drawing board. What do? Hold on to your why and muster up the motivation to keep moving. I grew up in a very abusive home. My father was extremely abusive. And out of all of my siblings, I'm the youngest, but I'm the most intellectual. And being born to two teachers, I had to remain an A student from child until high school, which I did. And remaining an A student, my why wasn't because I didn't want to get beaten from my father. My why was because I wanted to graduate and get a great job and one day take my mother away from the abuse. Because I was the youngest sibling and I knew she stayed because of me. So on the days when I didn't want to research a next paper, on the days where I did not want to be on top of the class and everybody coming to me for help, I held on to my why.
Yeah.
She was my why. On the days where I didn't want to get involved in extracurricular activities because they look good on you, you know, when you graduate from high school, because I'm an extreme introvert, she was my why. On the days where I didn't want to study for a next exam, my mother was my why. So as you move on up, I urge you to use the water of a positive mindset and water the seed of your why, which will grow into a tree of motivation that you can periodically pick from on your journey in order to keep moving. Tool number 2. A. Anybody want to guess what it is?
Collaboration.
No.
Application.
No.
Accountability.
Apple.
Tool number 2A is authenticity.
Okay.
Know who you are and always be true to who you are. Now to do so, and I say we because I practice what I preach, we have to daily let go who we think we're supposed to be or who life has caused us to become and truly embrace who we are. And when I say who we are, because a lot of people say, we hear this phrase like, be authentic to yourself, be true to who you are. What does that mean? Be true to your core values. If you don't have core values, get them. Everybody should have core values that you live your life by. I have a list of core values. I live by 3 core values. Tinesha Euphoria. Outside the caps, who is Tinesha? These is my core values, what make me who I am. It's my core. The first one is honor. I will always honor God and honor man. The second one is love. And I add that to my list when I begin to experience the love of God. And my mantra for that is that I will receive love, become love, and extend love to others. And then my third one is respect. I add this to my list when I was going through a challenging time of cutting myself and doing a lot of things, and I realized everything that I was doing was disrespectful to my body. It was disrespectful to my soul. It was unconducive for my mind. So my core value is that I will always respect my soul, body, and mind, and I will do the same to others. That's who makes Tinesha Euphoria. So when you're being authentic, you have to find your core values and live by them. There's no one like you. There's no one like Alonzo. There's no one like Tomas. There's no one like Korean. There has never been anyone like you. I think we might be up to like 2 billion people in the world now. There's only one Alonzo. One out of 2 billion.
7, right?
No replicate.
8.
8? Oh.
Yeah.
So counting a long time, but there's no replica. 1 in 8 billion. They may have your name, but they're not a replica of the core of you. Only one of you. And they will never be another person like you. So be yourself. Know yourself and be yourself.
Yes.
Authenticity is everything. When we learn to embrace who we truly are, flawed and all on our journey, because we're not perfect. All of us in here have some imperfection. But when you learn to embrace all of yourself, even with the imperfection, you begin to understand your worth. And what that does, it allows you to receive the value that you desire and for people to put the value that you desire upon yourself. There's this Chinese story that I read about a broken pot. And the story is about this woman who she had to travel down this path in a park to go to a well and back to her house to get water. And she had these 2 pots, one on a stick, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the right was completely good. The one on the left had a crack on the side. And the pot started to feel ashamed, like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Stuff, because every time she got up to the house, the pot on the left of the crack was half filled. And like after 2 years, the pot said to the old woman, I'm so sorry, I'm a failure. And I'm not able to deliver the way I'm supposed to deliver. And the old Chinese woman looked at the pot with a smile and asked, have you ever noticed the flowers on your side of the park and not on the other side of the pot? She said, what I did was plant seeds on your side of the park. And for the last 2 years, I picked those flowers and decorated my house. Because your leak watered those seeds. So if you weren't being who you are, beauty would not have graced my house. Even with imperfection, there was value. Someone else saw the value and placed it upon it. So as you move on up, I urge you to be authentic to who you are with your imperfections. And you will reap the reward from yourself and from others. Preparation directly affects the quality of your execution and achievement. I'll say that again. The quality of your preparation directly affects the quality of your execution and achievement. Abraham Lincoln said this quote that I also use whenever I'm preparing for speeches. It motivates me, I keep it up. He says, if someone gives me 8 hours to cut down a tree, I will spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. Just think about that. I have 8 hours to cut down a tree, but I will spend 6 hours sharpening my axe. Again, I say to you, we are moving and chartering into unknown territory. But preparation on that journey makes the difference of whether you go into something or go through something. When challenges show up, if you're prepared, it makes a difference if you go into your challenge or if you go through the challenge. Now, we can't always be prepared for everything. There's the unexpected and there's the expected. So you definitely have to do the best you can to prepare for the reasonable, expected stuff. For example, we can do a test right now. How many people have an umbrella in their car?
I left it on.
In my office?
In the car. In the car. See?
It might be there.
It might be there. How many people have jumper cables in their car?
I can take the battery out and put it on.
How many people have a jug for gas in their car? Yes, I do.
Yes.
I had borrowed one yesterday.
You know, these are simple things
Yeah.
that you can use to prepare daily. Because you just never know what you encounter.
Yeah.
My man stuff will always fail. So for me, I'm thinking like, okay, I have a car, what all could go wrong in this?
Yeah.
And everything that could possibly go wrong, I make sure I have it.
Yeah.
And it's in my car, especially, and I love that the female hands on us females, because listen, I know how to change style, but because I have 3 brothers, I'm the only female. So anything a man can do, I can do. However, I walk in my femininity, so I play stupid. And when I say that, we've come into a world where women have become so independent and strong.
Yeah.
But as a woman, I feel it takes away from men being men.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, so I love my kings. So when the kings step up to help out, just step aside. Okay,
There you
go
go.
ahead, do your thing. You know?
Exactly.
Even if it ain't perfect.
Pardon?
Even if it ain't perfect.
No. Let me tell you a story. So this was last Monday night. I usually have a mental health group that I with young people that I organize on Monday night. And we came out of our session, went to the car, click, nothing. So one of the facilitators, he walked over. Now I know he let me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, he walked over and said, "Oh, let me help you."
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, thanks." Put on the flashlight. I know it.
Yeah.
You know, so he asked if jumper cables, give it to him. Next one, come pull up the next guy, pull up the car.
Yeah.
And he was putting on the cables the wrong way. So I stand up right there with the light and thing, and he doing the cable, and I know he doing it wrong, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate you helping me. You don't know how much this means to me. And he fiddled and fiddled every time they turned the car and started. So I right there, it's like, okay, Tinesha, stay in your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and he's doing.
Yeah.
And then he started praying. He's like, Jesus, just love the sky. It's like, in the name of Jesus, I agree with him. Yes, come on. And I know what to do. Now, eventually, he got it. What I could have done maybe in like 2 minutes. It took him like about 10.
Yeah.
You know, but he did it.
Yeah.
And throughout the whole process, I cheered him on.
Wow.
But I'll tell you one thing. He left there feeling like a man.
Yeah.
That's our job. Even if we know. That's our job, especially because today in society, there are few men who are stepping up to be men. So whenever I see kings step out to be kings, I let them be a king. You know, so as you're moving on up, be intentional. Now, preparation comes easier for some. but it's something that can be learned. It's a discipline that can be developed. I'm here maybe, I've been speaking to you maybe for 20 minutes, but for the last 48 hours I had to prepare for this when Mr. Williams reached out to me. Just to stand before you for 20 minutes. It makes a difference how you execute and achieve whatever it is that you're reaching for. Your flyer had a quote from John Ruskin, and it says, "The highest reward for a person's toil is not what they get from it, but what they become by it." So as you leave here, I urge you, as you go on your individual elevation journeys, grab your map and create a positive mindset that would allow you to gather the motivation when you need it. Be authentic to who you are and stay prepared for what may come to shake you off your path as you move on up. I want you to stand as I close and make a declaration with me. I always do declarations at the end of my speeches. I have a positive mindset. Oh, you repeat after me. I have a positive mindset.
I have a positive mindset
And the motivation.
and the motivation
To be authentic.
to be authentic
To who I was created to be.
to who I was created to be.
And I am prepared.
and
And I am prepared
To face whatever challenge.
to
to face whatever challenge
May come upon my path.
may come upon my path
path
As I move on up.
as I move on up
And elevate in life.
and elevate in life.
in life.